have some resources available to you. Some of the presentations are going to have a resource for you, and it is going to be on our FTP site. So in order to get to our FTP site, you have to open up a browser, Windows Explorer, and then if you type in the FTP ///74220.235.32, it's going to ask you for a username and password, and that is going to be inform17 for both of those. The I in the inform is capitalized, and I do have some resources there for you from this presentation. All right, so just to start off, a lot of people get a little nervous with Vision, and they're afraid they're going to blow up their database. I feel that way a lot of times when I'm working in different areas. And rest assured, Vision is a copy of your MMS database. So you can, it goes from the MMS database to the Vision Data Loader, and you can schedule your Vision data to refresh periodically. It refreshes at the minimum every day, and then you get to use that data in your in the Vision application. So the first time you do get into Vision, and this is a common problem with our clients, is that Vision actually is accessed through the staff portal, which you will see in a minute, and it's a pop-up. And most of us have those annoying pop-ups blocked. So you will have to, depending on your browser, this is a screenshot of Chrome, which is my preferred browser, is that you'll have to allow pop-ups. And that may happen, and that probably will happen once we start getting into Vision. All right, so for those of you who are able to, if you could go to the following website. I did promise this is going to be a hands-on experience. So I created some user accounts on my virtual demo database. So if you could go into https://training1, the number 1, .crportals.studentinformation.systems. What I will do, and I'm going to pull up this information here, and I'm going to go to my attendees view here, and there are, let's see, I can pull that information out. I'm going to give that a few minutes while everybody is getting there. And let's see. So we have 20 people signed in right now, and it could be that not all of you are going to be able to log in, but I'm going to start going through the list. So Ortiz, if you could take user 1. Barb Chisdock, if you could do user 2. Brenda McGee, you can be user 3. That's me. Derek, you're going to be user 4. And then we have a Derek Rebuck, that's going to be user 5. Dawn Mullen, 6. Gail Haynes, 7. Jim from Stratford School, you're going to be 8. Kate Smith, 9. Raymond Hassan is going to be 10. Suzanne, you're going to be 11. Tori, you're going to be 12. And Valerie, you are going to be 13. And then I have 3 people who are, we just have waiting on your name. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have, let's say I was up to 12. Let's do the first one, waiting, pick 13, user 13. The next one will be user 14. Now, it is not required that you play along. If I missed anybody, just pose to the chat, and Hedrick will make sure. I have 40 user accounts, and I'm going to be using 40. So there's plenty there for everybody to go and play along. So if you could just let us know your status to let you know whether you have made it to this website here. And I'll just minimize that so you can see that again. And oh, very good. Valerie is in the site. Awesome. So again, that's training one at crportals.studentinformation.systems. Now the password is really difficult, folks. It is password all lowercase. And I will let you know that this will be accessible to you through the end of this week. So it's my demo database. The kiddos aren't real, although I feel for them when I flunk somebody. And yeah, true. And so you'll be able to play around with an instance of Vision for the end of the week, till the end of the week. All right, so let me escape from this presentation, and I'm going to go into log in. And as promised, I was going to log in as user 40. Oops. And log in. So I did some staging here for you, because given the amount of time that we have, we don't necessarily have enough time to go through the whole process of creating some analytics. We're going to go click on the staff portal. And before we get into Vision, as promised, I am going to show you what a dashboard looks like and what you can do with the dashboards. So the dashboard that you'll have available to the end of the week has some biographical statistics that I created. I am in a multiple school database. I have a high school, a middle school, and 3 elementary schools. You can see I have gender by ethnic description, by student count. I have a male-female count. I know in 2017 we had the civil rights data collection. That's something that is due by all schools every other year. So Vision, it will help you be able to pull that information out and make that reporting process a whole lot easier. But on my Discipline High School tab, I have added, I can create one and then be able to add filters to it. And you can see here that I'm filtering on my school code, which is my high school. And so there's 4 visualizations, a table, some tables and some visualizations there. And when I go back to my discipline for other schools, these are the 3 remaining schools. And wait for it to load here. It's the same visualizations, it's just reporting on the different schools' data. So you'll notice that the graphs look quite different. Are there any questions so far? Awesome. All right, so to get into Vision, we are going to click on Manage, and then we are going to go down to Vision, Dashboards, and Reporting. And I promise you, you're going to get that pop-up blocked. So depending on the browser that you're using, you're going to want to allow pop-ups from this website. So it's going to be https://training1.vision.studentinformation.systems. So please allow that. So once you allow that, you can refresh your screen and you will be able to, the Vision application will load. And I'll give everybody a few minutes to get caught up. This is the one part of the virtual conference that I don't like. When I am doing this as a live training or a live presentation, I can tell just by a glance as to who is all set and who needs a little bit more time. If anybody is really falling behind, just kind of post that to the chat area, and I'll get notified that I need to give you a little bit more time. So once you are in Vision, you'll notice that there's nothing there. You see two folders, the My Items and the Shared with Me. I shared 3 analyses and also a dashboard. So if you click on the Shared with Me folder, you'll see Elaine's Wicked Awesome dashboard. Yes, I grew up in Maine and I am a New Englander in my heart. So Wicked Awesome is definitely a thing. And then we have a copy of Discipline, Attendance Analysis, and the biographical CRDC example. We're going to be looking at the Discipline. So it is a copy, so we can't do anything with the Discipline analysis yet, but we'll be able to. So click on the text there, Copy of Discipline. And if you go to the gear to the right of Copy of Discipline, there'll be an option there for you to duplicate this analysis. So you're going to select that, because right now we can't do anything with this, with the information here. We can view it and that's all. So once I click on duplicate, I get an alert message asking me, are we sure we want to duplicate that? And we do. So I'm going to click on OK. We're going to go back to our home page, and we do that by clicking on the icon in the upper left-hand corner. And now if we go to My Items, now we have a working copy of the Copy of My Discipline. We may want to rename that. That's kind of funny. So rather than starting from scratch, I have done some data gathering already. So let's click on the Copy of our Discipline. And we can rename that if we want to. We're going to keep things short here. The first thing we're going to do is, well, we have a table that's available to us. And every analysis will have a table. If we click on the Data tab, it's already been created for you. So you'll see that we're looking at our student bio view. So that's one set of data. And if I scroll down, you'll see that I've joined that with my student bio view, the student discipline view. So now I have all of that biographical information on my students, as well as the discipline information. In the table, we have some functions available to the table here for us. If I click on that gear to the right of the word table, I can determine which columns I'm going to see in that table. I can sort my data. I can group my data. We can do some aggregations on that data, as well as paging. We're going to create some visualizations based on the data that I have here, and I'm keeping an eye on the time because one of the things that I want to do once we create some graphs and some charts is that I want to be able to show you the process of creating a report. I was working with some clients yesterday and they were very excited about the fact that we can create reports in Vision and then schedule those reports to go out automatically. You don't, once you set it, you can forget about it, and it will, every time that report generates, it will pull the most recent data from your Vision database. And remember, that data refreshes at the minimum once a day, so that report will always go out with fresh data. As I said, I did do some groundwork there for you. So we're going to go right to creating a crosstab report. So you just click on that crosstab up at the top, and when it loads the crosstab, it automatically pulls in some information. You can see that I already have a crosstab report created here, and I want to sometimes it actually lands in and pulls the values that I'm actually looking for, which is amusing, but this time it did not. So we get to change the values, and the header values is what is displayed in the column headings. So right now I have my infraction descriptions going across the top, and that is not what I want. What I want is an infraction date. So I'm going to put the date going across the top. And when you are selecting the fields for the header values, you'll see that I have a lot to choose from. And I lost where crosstab. I'm not sure what that means. So we did click on the add crosstab, and that pulls up that information that I'm working with. So we're going to Vision color codes things for you. In the table down below, the biographical fields, the first table that you choose in your selected data area is going to be color-coded blue. The second table you choose is going to be color-coded red. So you can see here I have my discipline data, and we are going to select the infraction date. And then we have some options. We can go by year, quarter, month, or day. Quarter is not your calendar for your school if you happen to be on a quarter basis or a trimester basis. It's actually the calendar quarter. So quarter one would be January, February, and March. I like to do it by month. And the label value columns are what is going to be displayed as the row columns. And for this one, I'm going to do the infraction description. So for my header column values, I'm going to have infraction date, and then going down the side for my rows, I'm going to have the infraction description. And our aggregate values is what we're going to count. And in this case, we are going to count the number of students. So we're going to choose student ID because we know MMS will only allow us to create a unique student ID for each student. So we know that's going to be a unique. And then for our aggregate function, we have count and distinct count. And depending on what you choose, the value, whether it's a character field or text field, as opposed to a date or a numeric field, you'll have different aggregation functions that you can choose. Student ID happens to be a text field, so we have the options of count versus distinct count. And I'm going to put count in right here, and then I'm going to scroll down and take a look at my table here. Oh, it went from distinct. Well, let's take a look at distinct first, since it's there. So what this is showing me is, for example, in October, I had one infraction of a bus misconduct. That means because I had distinct count, that means if I had one student who did it 3 times, there's going to be 3 records for that student showing each unique date when he or she created that infraction. When I did a distinct count, that's just going to show me the exact number of students who created this this infraction. So what I really wanted for this was to know the number of times an infraction was committed, and not just the number of students that committed that infraction. So I'm going to change my count back to my aggregate function back to count and not distinct count. And every time you make a change with the settings, the data is going to refresh. And it just so happens that I did have only one bus misconduct in October. So as promised, we are going to create some visualizations, and we do that by clicking on this icon here. It is 3 boxes with a check mark, and when you click on that, it is going to default to the panel title name, and it's going to add that to your visual gallery. And when we create our report, we're going to be able to see those items that we're adding to our visual gallery. You can change the title if you want to. The next thing we're going to do, keeping an eye on the time, is we're going to add some charts. So I clicked on Add Chart, and we are going to start with doing a pie chart. And the settings that I'm going to use is we're going to do infraction description. And I do have some formulas that are added here. We have a concatenated field that has the student's name, last name, first name, and their ID number combined. I have a count of male students, female students, and then I have something that I call gender. So when I create a report or some graphics, is rather than having just the M or the F display, which is the values that are in the field sex in the MMS database, I display something a little bit more presentable with, spelling out the word female and male. So for my data column, I am going to select again the student ID. And we are going to leave that as a count. So here you can see my infractions that I've committed. I'm going to scroll down a bit, and we can make our pie chart larger. Depending on the size of the pie chart, it will only display so many unique wedges in our pie, and then everything else will be lumped together as other. So I have it down so I just have a small percentage of other. And you can see by the wedge that my chewing gum violation is probably the largest one that I have. I can show either the value, and that's going to show the exact count. So I have 12 chewing gum violations. I have 10 that have cut class, or I can show the percentage. There we go. So again, let's add some visuals to our visual gallery. So we're going to add this chart. So click on the icon to add to your visual gallery. And we're just going to keep it quick by not changing the panel titles. Click on Done. And the nice thing about this is I can keep making changes to this pie chart, and I am going to make some additional changes. And the pie chart that I just added to the visual gallery is going to retain those settings. And then I can add another pie chart, and those settings will be different from the earlier version that I saved. Or I could create a new pie chart altogether. For this one, I am going to do a rank, and I am interested in knowing what the 5 most common violations are in my school database. So I have different ranks that I can put up there. So the rank of 5 will show me the 5 most common violations. I can do, so here I have it set to 10, and then all the others are going to be lumped together again. So I can see my top 10 infractions that are committed in my school district. I am on all of my students right now. So let's add this version to our visual gallery. And we're going to do one more. We're going to do a bar chart. So rather than keep modifying this one, I'm going to scroll up and I am going to add a new chart. By adding a new chart and having multiple charts in your analyses, if you want to go back and make modifications to the chart, to a specific chart, you can do that. If you keep modifying, and changing your pie chart to a bar chart, that's fine. But if you want to go back and make some other modifications to that pie chart, you're going to have to pretty much start all over from scratch. My memory isn't that great, so remembering what I did to get what I got is not always right there for me. So for a bar chart, we are going to show the number of infractions by year of graduation. So the label column is going to be year of graduation. You could do grade level if you wanted to. And we're going to choose from the biographical fields here. Actually, let's do grade level instead. And the data column is the infraction description. And we are going to do a count. We have count or distinct count, but we're interested in the number of violations that happen and not just the number of the type of different violations. And let's see, scroll down a little bit. I like my bar organization. I prefer the vertical. It's just preference. And you can see here that I have an other category. If I make my bar chart bigger, it's not going to completely go away because I do believe I have students in my database that don't have a grade level. I thought that would go away. No. So you can play with the sizes. So I am going to add that to my visual gallery. Is everybody staying caught up? We have time for one more visualization, and this one's cool. It looks cool, and but it's also, I don't like charts that look cool just for the sake of looking cool. It actually shows some relevant data, so so it's a twofer in my book. So again, I'm going to add a new chart. So I'm going to click on the Add Chart. And I am going to, this is going to be a curved line chart. Oh, all right. Sorry about that. Let me get back in. The nice thing about Vision is it auto saves. So even though I didn't hit save, I know that my curved line chart probably is not there, but no, it isn't. But everything else is. There we go. So the x-axis, I generally like to have that be a time element. So for my x-axis, we're going to select the infraction date. And again, I like to use the month. And the y-axis is going to be the number of infractions committed by each month. So for that, I am going to choose the infraction description. Again, I'm going to use count. And for our bar charts and for our line charts, I mean, we have a straight line chart. I like the curved line. You can add a second data element to it. And we're going to do that. And for this, we are going to do year of grade, we're going to do grade level. And it does default to a stacked chart. And you'll notice that my database actually, again, I have to keep saying this to myself, that they aren't real students, and we tend to roll our data over differently than you would. I don't go in and enter infractions and attendance for my students every day. So we kind of roll that forward from school year to school year. So I do have some infractions through March, it looks like. So yours, if you were to recreate this in your database, would look a little bit different. But you can see that the chart down at the bottom, each color indicates a specific grade level. Probably would want to eliminate, reduce the students that I'm viewing in here, because there are some repetitions of color, and I wouldn't know whether, you know, I'm looking at my second graders or my seventh graders, because those two colors are pretty much the same color. But it allows you to see at a glance, you know, which grade level has the more infractions each month. All right, so we're going to add that to our visual gallery. And let's also remove the, I should have taken another screenshot or another snapshot of that. I'm going to take off the additional column, so I just have a very simple graph. And then here I have the option of showing the value. And most of our graphs, we saw that in the pie chart. We didn't take a look at that in the bar chart, but you have the option of showing the values there. Sometimes, depending on what you're looking at for data, it may be a distraction. So that's, you know, something for you to determine whether you find value in showing the actual numbers in a chart like this. All right, so I'm going to add that one to our visual gallery. I hope everybody's been adding items to your visual gallery. And let's see, we're going to scroll up, and now we're going to create a report. So if you go back to the home page and click on that icon in the upper left-hand corner, and we're going to create a report. So that is the fourth button down. You'll see when you hover over those round buttons, they kind of elongate when you're hovering over them. And the bottom one is author report. I have so much fun when I'm in here. It lets my creative juices fly. So we're going to keep this report very, very simple. The first thing I always say is you want to rename either your analysis, your dashboard, or your report, because you can have dozens and dozens of untitled whatever, and going back and trying to find that instance because you want to do some more tweaking to a particular item in it. Good luck trying to find it. So we want to rename. That's a very good practice. So we're going to rename ours, and this is going to be, we're just going to keep it very simple, and it's going to be Inform Report. There we go. We're going to save it. Now, creating a report, it's pretty much all you have is all your different elements. So we can add columns to our report. We can add spaces so that things aren't all bunched up together. We can add visualizations. We can add text. We can add clip art, graphics. If you have a school logo that you want to pull in there, you can do that. You can add a hyperlink to it. The new PDF will allow you to click on that, and it will create a PDF of the report. All right, so we're going to start by adding a title to our report. So we're going to take the new text, and we're just going to drag it over, and you can see where it's going to land in the report. Right now I have just nothing in there. So when I drag that over to the report, it highlights the top bar with an orangey gold kind of color. So here I'm going to type in my title. This is something that will really grab you. You can choose how to format it. We have left justified, centered, and right justified. We can make it bold, and we can italicize. Not a robust word editor, but it's better than a text editor. We can add a date, time, or a date time stamp. We can choose the font size, and these are your options here. So I'm going to make my title fairly large. We have a wide selection of colors that you can choose from. I am going to default to just black. And then each element that you put into your report, you have the option of putting a border around it. And this is similar to an Excel. So you can have a left border, a right border, top, bottom, or you can draw a box all the way around it. The default is no border, and you have 3 thicknesses to choose from. And again, you can choose the color of the box that's going to go on there. And I'm going to underline my report title. And once you have everything all set, click on set, and there's my awesome report title. Let's see, we're going to add some spaces. So I'm just going to drag that item down. And again, we have the option of putting a border around our element, and we could choose how many spaces we want to add. All right, let's show how we can split into a new row. And I could put that, directly under my report. You see where that gold bar is showing. I can put that up at the top. I'm going to split my row right underneath my spaces, and now I have 2 areas where I can drag content to. So let's move some visuals in. So I'm going to grab my new visual, and you can see where it's going to land. That's my first column. There's my second column. And as soon as I release that with my mouse, I open up into my visual gallery. So these are the items that I have created this morning. And let's see, we click on the add, and that will add that to our report. Now, it's just a word of caution when you are creating a report. If you happen to create a data element called a gauge, you do not want to put a gauge into your report. They just, like oil and water, they don't mix. It's a known problem, and for whatever reason, we just, just don't do that. It will cause your report to blow up, and we don't want that to happen. The delete from list means it's actually going to delete it from your visual gallery. So if there's any elements in your visual gallery that you don't want anymore, or you've improved upon them and you don't want to pull in the older versions, you can delete them from the list. This is the only way that you can access your visual gallery, is either by creating a report or by creating a dashboard. All right, so there is a button down at the bottom that says done. There we go. Or you can just click on the box to close it, and it will pull that element in. So there is my bar chart that I pulled in, and I could add some more graphics or text here to describe what we're seeing here with this bar chart. I can, if I click on the settings here, it allows, oh, excuse me, it does that. I can't move it, I have to scroll over to it. It allows me to change the description in the title here. So if you're going to add text that's going to describe very clearly what this graphic is showing, then you have the option of deleting that text altogether, or we just very quickly took what the default title was. You can change it to be something a little bit more polished. So I just chose to delete it, but we could center it. We have this formatting available, and you can also add a border around your element if you want to. So we're going to click on Set down below, and now you can see that that panel title is now gone because I deleted it. All right. So time is ticking here. So the part that I really, really love about Vision is that we can schedule these reports. So I want to touch on the scheduling option. So I'm going to go back to my home page now that we have a report. Reports are the only thing that can be scheduled. All right, so we're going to click on the clock. If I wanted to share this with any of you, I could do that. Actually, I'm going to do that right now. So these are all the users in my database, and we have some group users available, and one of them that I use to share this with you is the staff group, and the staff group is anybody who has access to the staff portal. So I just shared my report with you. And it's going to show up in the shared with me. If you want to make changes to it, you're going to have to duplicate that report, just like we did with our analysis. And let's go to scheduling. And you're going to enter in the from email. And then you are going to select who you want to email it to. So you do have to initially enter in all of the emails. You have carbon copy and blind carbon copy available to you. You can come in here and edit these emails at any time. You can add, remove emails. They don't have to be in your MMS database. So charter schools that are out there, where you have students coming from a sending district and you have to report on attendance for those students, you can create a table put it in a report, and then email that and have it set to go on a scheduled basis for those schools. So I am going to put in, well, yeah, I'm going to put in a from or to. We'll just send it to me. And then we're going to put a subject. Oh, yeah, I got that one wrong. There we go. And we do want to put a subject, so this is going to be test report. And all of the reports that get scheduled arrive as an attachment to the email. So you'll want to say something in the message saying, please look at the attached document.
We have a question from the audience. Can spreadsheets be scheduled to send in CSV format, or is PDF the only option?
PDF is the only option. You can export out of, really good question, any table, whether it's a crosstab or the table down in the analysis area, can be exported as a CSV, an Excel, or a PDF. And then once you have that exported out, then you can share the table that way, but that process is not automated. Good question. Yeah, I got the, actually a 4-minute warning here. So there are options. You can have the report scheduled just once. You can have it go by the minute, which I think is a bit extreme. You can do it hourly, and hourly it's, every hour up to every 23 hours. Daily. So if you need something to go out on a daily basis, and again, on daily, you can choose, not every day, but, every 2 days, every 3 days. On all of these options, you have a start time and date as to when this report's going to start being generated, and you can put an end date. End date is optional. My favorite that I like is probably either the weekly or the monthly. So we'll set this one up to go out monthly. And we can choose the blank date, day of the month. So if I needed this to go out on the 15th of every month, and then I can choose which months I want to send that out. Maybe I'm going to take July and August off. So it's not going to go out during the summer months. Or we could do the nth weekday of the month. So if I needed this to go out on the second Thursday of these months that I have selected here, that's when it's going to go. And then we have the start time, start date and time, and an end date. So now that my report is scheduled, I can see that that clock icon is now green. If I've shared this with somebody, that silhouette goes from gray to green. If I want to delete something, I just click on the trash can, and it's going to delete the item. Now, if you delete an analysis, that's fine. If you've taken visualizations from that analysis and put them in your visual gallery, those items will still be there. It's just the raw data that you use to pull in will be gone. If you hover over a clock, it will show you that this is scheduled to go at 8 a.m. on the first Monday of every, and it has the months that it's listed for. So, wow, I finished with like 2 minutes to spare. If there are any questions, I just want to reiterate that your access to my demo database is going to be available through the end of business on Friday, so 5 a.m. at 5 p.m. on Friday, I will be changing passwords, so you will not be able to get in. But if you've never used Vision before, then this will give you a really nice taste of it. In the FTP folder that I shared with you, and I'll pull that information back up, is, let's see, we'll just do the quick and dirty. That FTP folder, we have the resource on Vision, so it covers everything that you can do in Vision. It's what we provide as a document when people attend the 6-hour Vision session. So you just got a very small sampling of what you can learn how to do in Vision. It really is amazing as to what you can do with Vision. And oh, thank you very much for sharing that. Just again, the password is Inform17. And when you go to this, it is going to bring you to the internet, but you don't open up a browser. You actually open up a, oh, I didn't, let's see. You actually open up, just this is the Windows side of the house. So you would open up a File Explorer, and then in this tab is where you would type in the FTP, and you can see that I've entered it in before, and it's going to pull up that username and password. You just write in Inform17, both for the username and password, and there will be some resources there for you. And I'm done. Have a great day, everyone.